What we need to do is, yeah, do something. Morning, Doug.
Good morning.
Is that Grandma South?
Yes. How y'all doing this morning?
I'm sorry, Holly, I'm looking around the room and I'm half blind, and I still can't see you. You're disembodied.
You're not missing anything, Jim.
Madam Mayor, good morning. It's 9:01. I'm allowing participants in. We do have some online participation. I think we're ready whenever you all are.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'm sorry that I couldn't be here this morning. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Sorry I couldn't participate this morning, but I'm here with my brand new grandson who is the most beautiful, smartest, and most advanced baby ever. Please put that into the minutes, Karen, would you?
Yes.
All right, let's call for the adoption of the agenda. Motion to adopt the agenda as written. Do I have a first?
So moved.
Thank you. First movement, first movement. You can tell I've been working with the baby, can't you? Second,
Second.
thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Let's go to our new business. Please remember, everybody, that on a workshop, we can make no decisions. We're just here to discuss and talk about some topics. Our first topic is discuss the using part of our ARPA, our American Rescue Plan Act funds to provide premium pay to city employees who have worked through the COVID-19 pandemic. Jason, would you kind of summarize this agenda item?
I can, Madam Mayor. Good morning, everybody. I want to begin by saying that I will reference this also in my city manager report, but I want to begin by saying that we found out a few months ago that our public safety personnel, police, et cetera, they will each receive a one-time payment from the governor's office for working through the COVID-19 pandemic. Non-public safety personnel are not eligible to receive these one-time funds. Of course, this brings up the ARPA Act, or why we're presenting this here now. We, along with other cities and counties throughout the country and the state, we received these funds. Of course, this is the American Rescue Plan Act funds back in mid-late summer. We received approximately $51,000. And just on a side note, we should also receive the same amount for 2022. Since receiving these funds, we basically have had them sitting in the bank, whereas like a lot of other cities and counties, we've been trying to get clarification on how these funds can be spent. We have learned that one of the ways that we can do this is utilize some of these to provide premium payment for employees who have worked through the COVID-19 pandemic. Again, this is something other cities and counties have done here with even Clayton and Raven County. So since no funds were earmarked for non-public safety personnel, the recommendation is that a one-time payment of $1,000 for each full-time employee and a one-time premium payment of $500 for each part-time or independent as needed employee would be made. This would be a representation of fairness to match what the police department is receiving as part of the state grant. So just to clarify, police would not be receiving $1,000 as well. This is a show of appreciation to our non-public safety personnel, and it would be essentially a match to what the police department is receiving. And so that's the recommendation before you now. Again, Raven County has done this. The city of Clayton has done this. Other cities as well. And of course, as you all know, the way COVID hit City Hall, Public Works, we definitely have worked through it. The staff has definitely worked through the pandemic.
Thank you, Jason. Any discussion or questions from the council?
So, sorry, Holly, I just asked, how many people would be affected?
Well, we have 7 full-time employees in Public Works. We have 3 in City Hall, so that's 10. We have Bob Powers, who's part-time. We're not sure if Dottie, our as-needed police officer, I do not know if she will receive the $1,000 because she is not full-time. If she does receive that, then she would not be eligible for this, but the recommendation would be that if she does not receive the $1,000 from the state, she would get a one-time $500 payment through ARPA. And then, of course, Clegg Jarvis, our part-time financial guy, he's independent now, but he is slated to become a 10-hour-a-week part-time employee next year. I think it would be a good show of appreciation if he were included. So essentially 10 full-time, 3 part-time. So you're looking at $11,500 if I'm doing math off the top of my head.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Ed.
There's $54,000 in that fund.
Well, there's right at 50,000, I believe 800. It's approximately 51,000. We really have not used that money for anything.
What else would we
Infrastructure.
use
It can be used towards infrastructure. If we can ever get the culvert project going, we could help offset any. I'm anticipating additional costs. I'm going to discuss that in my city manager report, but infrastructure related matters can be used as well.
Anybody else need to say anything? Okay, do we have any questions from online people?
Councilman Curtis was making a comment. I don't think it was received on record though.
Okay, go ahead, Jim.
I was just trying to say that I think this is a great way to show appreciation to our employees, to show up in cold weather and hot weather and overtime, you know, whenever and wherever they're needed.
I think that was a great comment, Jim. In fact, weren't our Public Works guys working Sunday, Jason?
Yes, ma'am. But we had a compactor issue Saturday, then we had a water leak on Sunday. So that's fair. That seems to be pretty common on our on-call guys coming in.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, let's move on to the next item, which is to discuss purchasing 1 Dodge Durango AWD SUV for the police department. Jason, you want to give a brief update on that?
I can, Madam Mayor. We have attempted to receive several quotes from dealers. As you all know, supply chain, chip shortage, etc. Vehicles are a premium. They're hard to get right now. We have 2 Subarus. One of them is in much worse shape than others. The thought is to try to replace that. Essentially, what we're asking here is just the permission to get on the list to purchase a vehicle. Jackie Jones or Smoky Mountain in Franklin, they found out recently that there is an allocation of vehicles that will be available. And what we're asking for is just the ability to get on the list. It's also the ability to try to lock down a price. As you all know, with inflation, everything's going up. If these vehicles come in, we're probably looking at about April or May at the earliest. And so essentially this request is just to try to lock down a price and try to get on the list if one becomes available. And so that's what we're asking for now. The Durango would be similarly equipped as what we have now with our existing two. We're looking at about 39,000 in relation to 32, 33,000, which we paid for the last one, which is pre-pandemic. So essentially, we're just asking to be able to get on the list to buy.
Okay, any questions or comments from the council?
I do.
Okay, Bill?
That amount is in the budget, correct?
This was discussed some in the budget hearings, but the anticipation they would pay for this out of SPOS. We have approximately $100,000 in equipment. And if you look under the SPOS guidelines, under examples, even though very vague, police vehicles, fire vehicles are given as examples. So certainly this would be something that would be an appropriate purchase using those funds.
Any other comments or questions from the council? All right, any questions from the participants online, Jason?
Madam Mayor, we have several. I don't see any comments, but if they come forward, I'll definitely let you all know.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go to item 5, which is discuss the purchasing of 2 Kubota RTVs with the snowplow for the road department and water department. Jason, just a brief update on that.
Yes, ma'am. We'd actually received 3 quotes, from local vendors. Again, with supply chain issues, Franklin Kubota, they're just a little bit higher, not much, but they do have 2 units that they're anticipating to be in by the end of this year, early January at the latest. Again, this is really just a request to go ahead and get on the list to try to buy these before they get snatched up by somebody else. These would not be paid for until next year if approved. And these were budgeted capital expenditures. One would be bought by the road department. One would be purchased by the water department. Of course, they would be used interchangeably, but certainly with the snowplow attachments, we reached out to some other cities and counties, and I think they'll be a great asset to help out. And again, the ideal is to try to get these by winter. The other 2 dealers, I'll just say that we were told probably April or May at the earliest. So Franklin does have 2 coming in. And again, this request is just to try to have the ability to buy these when they come in.
Jason, what's an RTV?
Is it RTV or UTV, Jerry? It's kind of an interchangeable utilitarian vehicle.
Like a, it's a side by side, like a 4-wheeler, but it's in closed cab, got heat, air, it's stretched like two.
These are
more of a off range. They get like to go down on the trail.
You can drive it from the improvement shed to the
Oh,
city
yeah.
on the highway. Start.
they will have headlights, tail lights, blinkers.
Does this put the snow blade on it? Give us a truck. Is it as clear snow as quickly as a truck with a blade on it? Or
I would think so, but I've watched Steve with his Polaris, his over here, but like some of your flat areas and that kind of stuff, get the road opened up. Or vice versa, get the road opened up with the trucks and then come through with that. It takes a lot of time. Get them in places where you can't get these trucks turned.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, to echo what Jerry said, the thought is, these can go to the nook and crannies, places, the tight spots that the big trucks can't get to. And plus, they have other uses as well, being four-wheel drive. They have a bed, if we need to get a small load of gravel or crusher run, we can go to a specific spot. You can put leaf blowers, weed eaters, those type of things in the back. They'll be used for other uses besides snow plowing, but they will be a great asset in the event that, as we all know, we're overdue for a foot of snow. So,
Versus having three big trucks up here, you can send a side by side up here in the summertime with the weed eaters, that kind of stuff in their front. Trucks sitting all over the road. I think it'll be a game changer, especially with the snow.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the council? All right, how about from our participants?
I just asked a question, Molly.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Bill.
That's okay. My question was, do we need two of these?
Actually, two would be more sufficient. Have one on one side of the city and one on the other, like where you got the trucks on each side of the city, clearing the way for the other one.
we have a question from the online. Why does the water department need a snow plow? It's more of a, just trying to anticipate in the event. I mean, if we were to buy one. Another thing too, for the water department, meter readings, it has the ability to hook up our machine that reads meters. That could be used as well. And then to me, it just kind of makes sense. I mean, if we're going to buy a snow plow for our road, for that $5,000 cost to have that hydraulic snow plow, it's there. And really, if it's the council's pleasure, but it's more of a, almost working off the notion, have it, not need it versus need it, not have it. So
I guess what I'm hearing you say is the water department, primary function of this is not the snow plow, it's the other uses for the rest of the year that you're planning on using this to create some efficiencies. But since we have it and it can be fitted with a snow plow, that makes sense because that gives us more snow plow capacity. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion? All right, let's move on to item 6, which is to discuss utilizing the services of Liquid Engineering for the cleaning and maintenance and repair of our city water tanks. Jason, just a quick description of what this means, please.
Madam Mayor, since my time here, I've come to find out that the water tanks need periodic cleaning. It's my understanding this has not been done for years. This is kind of a niche, obviously a niche or a specialized vendor. And we've used Liquid Engineering in the past. They're based out of Montana. The last conversation that I had with them, our window of heads up and when they'll be in is very short. They typically service the northern states in the summertime, the winter states in the wintertime. And the last conversation that I had with them is they're anticipating to come in sometime between January, I'm thinking March. And so to not have to scramble to have a meeting to have this approved, the request is to go ahead and have this done. They also will perform any kind of minor maintenance. We do have a couple of small tanks that have very, very minor leaks, but they can address that. Again, and also to clean the tanks. And so It is a little above the city hall spending threshold of 5,000. So simply this request is just to give us the green light to move forward when they do come in.
Jason, how many tanks does that include? How many tanks do we have?
That would be all, everything
How-
that would come in.
Can y'all, what's the number of tanks? Seven tanks. That includes Winding Ridge also, so.
Just curious about how that process works. Do they have to drain the tank completely?
Can you come forward, Cody?
Yep.
It's a little hard to hear.
They can't hear.
So you can just stand by it. That's good, yeah.
The tanks, when they come in, they have a diving team that comes in, and the tank will be completely full, and they'll come in and look through the whole tank and see if there's any kind of buildup or sediment or anything down at the bottom of it, and if there is, they'll take care of it while they're here.
So they actually go into the tank.
They go inside,
Then
then
they also have a video
I'm sure they do have.
opportunity. I saw that on video.
I think the last time any of that last food with was back when Linda was here and her, somebody she had come in, do some of it, then they had another company come in and do that, but they don't have to drain the tanks, they just go inside of them and do it while they're full. I mean, that would be a big issue if the tanks had to be drained, you know what I'm saying, but they could do it without being drained.
Given the fact that this is so important to our community and health.
Right.
Phenomenal
I
feat.
just, for this is better safe than sorry for sure.
And this was a budgeted expense for 2022. It was anticipated, so we're just going to show that as well.
In case anybody's wondering, I think they just back everything that goes in the tank.
Cody, another question about water. Y'all had a leak this week. I noticed that my water now has a lot of air.
Right.
Could that be a result of that?
It could be, it could very well be the fact that, one of our employees, he had to turn the water off above it and below it to get the water off of that certain spot. And it drains down and then the water line will get air in it. And
Yeah.
If there's a big problem, we can, open up the fire hydrants and drain some of the air out, and hopefully that'll help.
Water, there's nothing wrong with water.
No, sir.
It's just got
No,
air.
sir. It's got a little air.
Thank you, Jerry and Cody. Any other comments?
You're welcome.
All right, let's move on to our last item, which is to discuss the Smart Earth Technology Pilot Program option for our meter reading. I know that we had a previous presentation by this company, but if you can just give a quick few sentences about it, Jason, that'd be great.
And Madam Mayor, we actually met with them again the past couple months ago. As you said, they were here a few months ago. They have presented a couple of additional options. This is not under consideration for a vote at the council meeting at 10, but just wanted to give y'all a chance to see these, ask any questions, but we're still looking at doing the 10-unit test pilot. However, they gave us an option where we can essentially do a 34 test pilot program. These units, it equals out to about $500 per unit. So 10 units, $5,000, 34 units, $17,000. If we went with the 34 units, $17,000, obviously that would require a vote. We would bring that back, but they would throw in the building software, the 10-unit pilot program that we're looking to do, the 5,000. It does not include the building software. Obviously, that's something that we would have to go with if we decide to go with this on a grand scale. But I think at this time, the recommendation would be, or what we're going to go with is the 10-unit, which is the 5,000. That is at the max of the admin spending threshold. But for transparency, I just wanted to let you all know that's what we're looking at doing. This would not happen until next year. There's about an 8-week lead time to have these meters come in. But we're looking at doing the meters that you can cut off remotely using the LTE, the cellular technology with a smartphone or a tablet. And we're actually, myself, Cody, and Jerry are looking to try to be as strategic as we can at placing these meters throughout the city. One of the delays with this is that, I'll just share this while we're talking about it, is obviously with the topography that we have here, we have identified some areas of the city where the connection might be a little spotty. So we're going to try to take that into consideration as we're looking to try to be strategic at replacing these meters. But I think 10 units, we're probably going to do this for about 6 months. By that time, we'll be in budget mode for 2023, and we will have a good understanding if this is something we want to explore further. But I'll just close by saying this, from speaking with Justin McCall with the county, they're doing a 5-meter pilot, and they've been very impressed with it, particularly the ability to cut it on and off remotely. That's just want to let you know that's what we're looking at. However, if anybody had any questions about the 34 pilot program, the 17,000, we would be glad to try to address that. And so, but the plan is to go with the 5,000, 10 units for next year.
And to reiterate, Jason, this gives us real-time data.
Well, real time in the fact in the event that usually within about a 4-hour period, whereas by that I mean the system that loops through as far as reading. If we have a water leak, if that leak is found at the end of that cycling, we might find it within an hour or less. But if a water leak occurs after that cycle, it may be up to 4 hours, but that's much better than the 30 days that we have sometimes now. But it does give real time, as I'm saying, about 4 hours. If somebody's using a lot of water, it gives a notification, and we can kind of head that off versus somebody getting a high bill without knowing they have a leak and 30 days goes by.
Okay. Any comments or discussions from the council?
Jason,
Got to speak up.
price to 10 units, 34 units. Tell me about the 34 number. Is that what we envision eventually having if this all works out?
Well, there's a couple of options. We could, if we find that the 10 unit is something we want to do, we could essentially add the 24 for $12,000. And it might be kind of a baby step incremental thing, but we may find that the 10's working. We want to invest in 24 more. If we wanted to say go another 6 months, if we find this is really something we want to do, then I think that'll give us a good indicator as far. But right now, I think the 10 would be fine. As far as the billing software, we can still do our reading, our billing the way we normally do with those existing 10. But I think that may be the next step versus going full in, buying several hundred of these. The next step might be to go with the 24, which would essentially give us 34 if we go that route.
Some of these are replacements of meters that we already have on now.
Yeah, we would take those existing meters out and we would install these smart meters. So everybody else would still have their meters read the way we do it now. It's just the 10 that we identify, they will be read utilizing the technology. And then, so there will be no change in anybody else, it's just whoever the 10 we select. But they will be replaced.
And just so everybody understands, these aren't meters in people's homes, these are meters in our distribution system, so we can better monitor.
And again, the ultimate goal with this is to improve efficiency and also address our water loss. not to rehash, but we got there to water withdrawal permit this past summer. We had to make a commitment to reduce our level of water loss, and I think this may help with that. So that's another goal or reason to go into this.
You need to clarify what he just said, though, because these meters, my understanding is meters that will go into specific homes.
Yes, they will be at the road or wherever the meter's located. They will replace the existing master meter that we have now. It should have no impact on anybody's bill. If anything, it will probably help reduce a high bill than a leak because we will have much real-time, faster information if there is a leak. So I just want to clarify that if anybody is selected to go with this pilot program, it's not going to impact their bill. If they're using the minimum, they're still going to get charged for the minimum. Again, in the unfortunate event they do have a leak, we'll just be able to find out about it faster.
Thank you. Sounds like progress.
Next, one more question.
So,
In the event that after the trial period, we decide that it's not actually as advantageous as we had hoped, we decide not to move on, can we manually read these meters, or do we have to go back and reinstall them?
that would be a question I can ask the vendor, and I will find that out before we move forward with purchasing. But that's a good question. Jerry, Cody, do y'all recall that being asked? I know we had tons of questions with them.
I never remember that being asked.
I mean, but yeah, we should be able just to put the old master meter back in. But we can certainly, we can ask that. That's a great question. Thank you.
All right, any more comments or questions? All right, well, I want to thank everybody for participating. Thank you to Mr. Smalley and Ms. Dahlhaus for attending online. And I hope that you all will tune in to our 10 o'clock regular council meetings. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll see y'all back in a little while. Thank you.